Ventricle is a cavity which is present within the brain. Ventricles are lined by ependymal cells which produces the cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid will act as the shock absorber and also gives nourishment to the central nervous system. Here you can see a pair of lateral ventricle present within the cerebrum, the third ventricle present within the midbrain, and the fourth ventricle lies between the cerebellum, pons, and medulla. Hence, the fourth ventricle is also known as the cavity of hindbrain, which is situated in the posterior cranial fossa. In this picture, you can see the cross section of the brain where there is an intercommunication between ventricles seen. The lateral ventricle is communicating with the third ventricle via the foramen called interventricular foramen. The third ventricle is communicating with the fourth ventricle via the cerebral aqueduct. The fourth ventricle is continuing as the central canal of the spinal cord. This picture shows you the brainstem anteriorly and posteriorly. In the anterior view, you can see the crus of the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla. On the posterior aspect, again you can see the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla. So this fossa is known as the rhomboid fossa because the shape appears to be diamond. Moving on to the parts of the fourth ventricle, it has a roof, floor, lateral wall, and four angles. So consider your fourth ventricle to be a room. There is a presence of roof, the floor, on either side the lateral walls. Where the lateral wall meets forms the four angles. This picture shows you the rhomboid fossa with the four lateral walls. So these two forms the supralateral wall and these two forms the infralateral wall. Where they meet, this forms the superior angle, this is the inferior angle, and these two are the lateral angles. Moving on to the walls, the supralateral wall is formed by superior cerebellar peduncle. So in the previous class, I have told you cerebellum is connected to the brainstem via three stalk-like structures called as peduncles. The superior cerebellar peduncle connects the cerebellum with the midbrain. The middle cerebellar peduncle connects the cerebellum with the pons, and the inferior cerebellar peduncle connects the cerebellum with the medulla. So if you see, the supralateral wall is formed by the superior cerebellar peduncles on either side. The infralateral wall is formed by the inferior cerebellar peduncle, which is supplemented by the tubercles of the medulla, the gracile and the cuneate tubercle. So as I have told you, the fourth ventricle contains roof. So the roof is tent shaped. So you can see the roof is forming two surfaces. There is an upper sloping surface, there is a lower sloping surface. The upper sloping surface is formed by a thin sheet of white matter known as superior medullary velum. So this superior medullary velum converges from the superior peduncle. Then the lower sloping surface is formed by a thin sheet of non-nervous tissue which is made up of ependyma and the double layer of pia mater. This together is known as inferior medullary velum. So as you can see, the entire roof, which is tent shaped, is formed by two sloping surfaces, superior medullary velum, inferior medullary velum. The inferior medullary velum centrally has an opening known as median aperture. This median aperture is also known as foramen of Magendie. This foramen will make the fourth ventricle to communicate with the subarachnoid space. Same way, the two lateral apertures will also make the fourth ventricle communicate with the subarachnoid space. So these two lateral aperture is known as foramen of Lashka. So inferior medullary velum has three openings, one in the center known as foramen of Magendie, two on either side known as foramen of Lashka. So this shows you the closer view of the roof. Moving on to the floor of the fourth ventricle. So as I have already told you, the floor is also known as the rhomboid fossa. This is divisible into three parts: an upper triangular part, the lower triangular part, and the intermediate part. The upper triangular part is formed by the posterior surface of the pons. The lower triangular part is formed by the posterior surface of the medulla. Where the pons and the medulla meet, this forms the intermediate area. So moving on to the features of the floor of fourth ventricle. The floor is divisible into two equal halves by a deep sulcus known as median sulcus. This sulcus divides the entire rhomboid fossa into right half and the left half. There is a thin band of white matter running between the floor of the fourth ventricle, which divides them into two parts: upper triangular part, lower triangular part. So here you can see the median sulcus, and this stria medullaris, the white fiber, is dividing then into upper triangular part, which is formed by the posterior surface of pons, lower triangular part, which is formed by the posterior surface of medulla. First we will see about the upper part, which is formed by the posterior surface of pons. Already I have told you the median sulcus is a deep sulcus which is dividing the entire fossa into two equal halves. Lateral to the median sulcus, you can see two rounded elevation which is known as facial colliculus. This facial colliculus is produced by the fibers of facial nerve which is hooking around the abducens nerve. This is also known as median eminence. This medial eminence is limited laterally by a shallow groove called as sulcus limitans. This sulcus limitans superiorly will depress into a triangular area called as superior fovea. As you trace the sulcus limitant downwards, this will again form a triangular depression which is known as inferior fovea. So above the superior fovea, you can see an bluish grey area which is known as locus ceruleus. So this locus ceruleus contains the melanin pigment containing cells known as substantia ferruginea. So we have seen about the upper triangular part which is formed by the posterior surface of the pons. There is a median sulcus. Lateral to median sulcus is the oval elevation known as median eminence or the facial colliculus that is limited on either side by a shallow groove called as sulcus limitans. Sulcus limitans superiorly form a triangular depression called as superior fovea. Above the superior fovea, there is a melanin containing cells seen, and that area is known as locus ceruleus. Moving on to the inferior part of the floor of fourth ventricle, which is formed by the posterior surface of the medulla. So this will contain two important triangles. Superiorly the hypoglossal triangle, inferiorly the vagal triangle, or you can say medially the hypoglossal triangle, laterally vagal triangle. So again in this picture you can see the locus ceruleus, the median eminence, the median sulcus, the sulcus limitans, the stria medullaris. Inferior to the stria medullaris, you can see the hypoglossal triangle and the vagal triangle. The hypoglossal triangle overlies the hypoglossal nucleus. The vagal triangle contains the vagus nucleus. Apart from that, it has the glossopharyngeal nucleus and cranial root of accessory nerve nucleus. So, three will form this triangle. So, I am zooming up this picture so that you can clearly see the funiculus separates. Between the vagal triangle and the gracile tubercle, you can see a small ridge which is known as funiculus separates. So below the funiculus separates, you can see a small area. This is known as area postrema. So this contains the vital centers, or it has the vomiting center present within it. It is highly vascular and contains neuroglial tissue. Then you can see a thin white band of fibers which is known as tinea. These tinea will inferiorly unite at an inferior angle forming obex. So where the tinea meets, that point is known as obex. So which forms the inferior angle. On either side of the hypoglossal triangle, vagal triangle, you can see two area, and this is known as vestibular area. So the vestibular area is partly seen in medulla and partly seen in pons. So the vestibular area overlies the vestibular nucleus. So hence fourth ventricle has a very important vital centers from which the cranial nerves arises. Your facial nerve from facial colliculus, your hypoglossal nerve from the hypoglossal nucleus, and your vagus nerve, accessory nerve, and glossopharyngeal nerve from the vagal triangle, and vestibular nerve from the vestibular area. So moving on to the roof, this roof contains the double layered pia mater called as telechoroidea. So along the telechoroidea, you can see the blood vessels forming a plexus, and this is known as choroid plexus. So already have told you the roof, the inferior sloping surface is formed by the ependymal cells and the double layered pia mater. The double layered pia mater is known as telechoroidea. Within the double layer, you can see the plexus of blood vessels, which is known as choroid plexus. So this will receive its blood vessels, or the branches will be received from the posterior cerebellar artery. So this is T-shaped. It contains a vertical limb and two horizontal limbs. The vertical limb will open till the foramen of Magendie, and the horizontal limb will open till the foramen of Leschka. So what is the function of this choroid plexus? The choroid plexus of the ventricles will produces the cerebrospinal fluid. Moving on to rhesus. So rhesus are nothing but extension of the cavity of fourth ventricle. So here fourth ventricle has 5 recesses. There are 2 lateral recesses seen, 1 median dorsal recess seen, and 2 lateral dorsal recesses seen. So here in this picture you can see the fourth ventricle. This is foramen of Magendie and here is the foramen of Leschka. So the median dorsal recess via the foramen of Magendie, it will extend till the white matter of cerebellum. The lateral recess on either side via the foramen of Leschka will extend laterally between the inferior cerebellar peduncle and the flocculus of cerebellum. So again this foramen of Leschka will lead to the subarachnoid space. Then if you see, there is a lateral dorsal recess present which will extend on each side of median recess above the inferior medullary velum. So all these recesses helps in flowing of the CSF from the fourth ventricle to the cerebellum and also to the subarachnoid space. I think you must have understood about the ventricle clearly. For other details, refer the PowerPoint which I have uploaded in the classroom. Thank you.